Coming at you with a 3,000 point Warhammer Fantasy 8th Edition Battle Report here. We rolled up Blood and Glory. Here's the table.
And we'll get back to you after the army lists. So, starting over here with Demons of Khorne. In my core, I have 49 Bloodletters with full command and Banner of Swiftness. In my special slots over here, I have 2 units of Blood Crushers, both with full commands, and then 2 units of Flesh Hounds, and they've both been upgraded to have the Ambushers special rule. Over here in my rare choices, I got 2 Skull Cannons. And then for my heroes, I have 2 Heralds of Khorne. This one down here is my BSB. And he has a greater gift, and it's the 2+ armor save. And he also has the Razor Standard. And then my other Herald has the +2 attacks greater gift, and he's on a Juggernaut. And then my Lord's slot, I have a Bloodthirster of Wrath, and he has 1 greater gift and 2 lesser gift. His greater gift is +1 wound, and his lesser gifts are he's got a 2+ ward save against his first wound suffered, and strength 2 breath weapon. And that's 3,000 points of Demons of Khorne, and then we'll get back to you with Empire.
Okay, we got 3,000 points of Empire here. In the core, there is 30 swordsmen with full command, and they have a detachment of 9 archers and another detachment of 15 Free Company fighters. Then there's a unit of Inner Circle knights with great weapons. Over here is a unit of 10 handgunners. It's got a champion, and the champion has a repeater handgun. There's 40 halberdiers with full command, and they have a detachment of 20 crossbowmen. In special, there's 5 pistoliers with a champion and musician, and the champion has a brace, including a repeater pistol. Then there's a unit of 7 outriders with a champion, and there's no barding on upgrade this time. Also in special is a mortar, 2 great cannons, and then in rare there's a steam tank and a Hellstorm rocket battery. For characters in heroes, I have a warrior priest, and he has the armor of destiny. Here is my BSB, which is a captain with enchanted shield and armor of preservation and full plate mail. I have a captain on a Pegasus. The Pegasus has iron hard hooves and swift as the wind. The captain has Dawnstone, Dragon Helm, and the other Trickster's Shard. Lords, this is my general, which is an Arc Lector. He has Crown of Command, Helm of the Skaven Slayer, and Dragonbane Gem. And then I have a level 4 to Light that rolled up Foz Protection, Light of Battle, Banishment, and Byrona's Time Warp. And he has Book of Assure and Terrifying Mask of E. And that's 3,000 points of the Empire.
So I have my BSB in the center of this big squad here, and another Herald of Khorne with these 3 Blood Crushers, and my Warlord, or my General, my Bloodthirster, right there.
For me, I've got my Captain on a Pegasus right here. Over here, I've put my Warrior Priest and my level 4 to light. And then in this unit, I have my General and my BSB. And we're about to roll for first turn.
I get the +1 because I finished first. I get the
Got
5.
it.
Kind of need to get a jump on all these cannons and guns. So we'll get back to you at the end of the movement phase. So in the Demons turn 1 movement phase, I pretty much just advance the line, hopefully get some charges off next turn if I can. Over here though, the Bloodthirster and the unit of Fleshhounds managed to get a first turn charge, with the building being a bit more forward than the battle line and being a bit closer together. And I'm going to roll. I don't have any magic in my army, but I'm going to roll the Winds of Chaos dice now just to see what happens for the rest of the turn. And it's going to be a 10, so I think that's actually good. That's +1 in vulnerable saves until my next magic phase. So not a bad way to start it off. I'll get back to you after a demon shooting phase. In the shooting phase, no misfires. This cannon shot at this cannon. Hit, wounded, but only did 1 wound. Over here, this cannon shot at the steam tank. Also got a hit, also got a wound, but only did 2 damage. So I got some wounds through, but not as much as I could have. Can't really complain. I'll get back to you after this turn 1 combat against the guys in the building. So in the combat phase, the Bloodthirster used his breath weapon, but managed to kill the unit of handgunners inside. Then I just push back off the building an inch and get back to you after the Empire turn 1 movement phase.
For the Empire's movement phase, Captain on a Pegasus charged these Fleshhounds. The White Lion, well, the White Wolf Knights charged these guys here. Steam Tank didn't misfire and went with 4 steam points, rolled a 2. Went 2 dice straight forward, which was a 9 to there, and has 2 steam points left. These units back here just kind of shuffled around a little bit. And this unit of Pegasus Knights up, or this unit of Pistoliers up the side. So they can get a good shot at Fleshhounds. And we'll do magic phase and then we'll get back to you. For the Empire's magic phase, I rolled a double 1 and then channeled twice. So I threw 1 die at the reroll to wound prayer on the Arc Lector here, which would have affected the detachment of crossbowmen, but it was dispelled with the 1 dice on the Khorne side, and then threw the other 3 dice at Faw's protection over here for -1 to hit on these Great Weapon Knights. And we'll get back to you after Empire's shooting phase. In the Empire shooting phase, this cannon over here tried to get a line down these guys, but the first one made his invuln. The mortar and the rocket battery both fired at this big unit, along with the pistol out of the top here, and that did some damage. 11. Right here, all that shooting from these 2 units did 2 wounds to this guy. The steam tank fired its cannon back at that chariot and did 2 wounds. This cannon here fired all the way over at the Bloodthirster and didn't manage to wound. And all these 2 units, the Pistoliers and the Outriders shooting at these Fleshhounds, managed to get 1 wound through.
4 vulnerable save was huge.
So good shooting in some spots, poor in others, averages out, and there's just 2 combats. Get back to you at the end of combat phase. All right, into the Empire's close combat phase. Here, the Pegasus did pretty well. Actually, managed to kill 2. Didn't take any wounds, but they rolled a 3 on their leadership, which is what they needed, and hung in there. And over here, the White Wolf Knights got decimated by the Blood Crushers. So they're all dead, and now it'll be Daemon's turn.
So in the Demon's turn 2 movement phase, the Bloodthirster that was here charged the mortar, and the Skull Crushers charged the cannon. These guys just repositioned a bit to try and get some of the cannons on the steam tank. The Blood Crushers that were here got a charge in on these archers, hoping to get an overrun, maybe get a mage and and a warrior priest knight. And then the flesh hounds over here charged those outriders. I didn't take any damage on the Overwatch either, the stand and shoot. So I'll get back to you after Demon's shooting phase, but I'll roll the Winds of Magic dice right now and see what happens. And I get a 7, so that's just nothing happens. So I'll get back to you after the shooting phase. Demon's turn 2 shooting phase. I did another 2 wounds to the steam tank from this cannon. This cannon shot over at that cannon and did a 1 wound again. So the exact same result as turn 1. Get back to you after Demon's combat phase. Demon's turn 2 combat phase. The Bloodthirster killed the War Machine crew and then reformed to start heading toward the main battle line again. Same as these guys, they killed the crew and then reformed. Over here, the captain managed to do 2 wounds to this unit. I did nothing back, and I made my leadership test to stay. Over here in the center, the Blood Crushers, they actually took a wound, and that killed the last guy, the one guy who was wounded in that unit. So they're down to 2, but they managed to wipe out most of this unit. And then they pursued the remaining guy who ran away into the swordsman behind them. And these flesh hounds over here killed the outriders, and then, or they ran away, and then they passed their test to restrain themselves, and they reformed to face the cannon. But they also lost one of their guys doing that. And we'll get back to you after Empire turn 2 movement phase.
So in the movement phase, first thing I did was steam points. I went with 4, rolled a misfire, lost D3 down to 2. Then charges. I flank charged these guys with a detachment. And then movement, all I did was spun this cannon to face these guys and move those pistoliers over to get some shots at the cannon over there. So we'll get back to you after magic. Alright, so for the Empire's magic phase, cast Faw's Protection, didn't manage to dispel it, then double wonned my prayer on 2 dice for reroll failed to wound rolls, so that didn't go off, and then cast Light of Battle, so this unit's unbreakable. And now we'll do shooting. Empire shooting phase, the steam gun and crossbows and pistol into here. Did a lot of shooting into these guys. Killed 11. Grape shot over here, managed to kill 2 of these flesh hounds from point blank. And over there, the pistoliers shot at that hell cannon and Khorne cannon and did 1 wound. So it's down to 1. And we're on to close combat. Into the Empire's combat phase. Over here, the Pegasus captain managed to do a couple wounds, and then they just took the last wound on their leadership test. You got a reform there. And over here, got this unit down to the champion sitting there with 2 wounds. And I lost 1 guy. So, going into Demons turn 3.
So in the movement phase, I just shuffled these guys back a bit, trying to eventually get around this steam tank that's been blocking my way. Over here, this guy just turned to do a grape shot on those pistoliers. Biggest fail of the turn was the unit of blood crushers. Needed a pretty short charge and they rolled terribly. So that was a shame. This bloodthirster just moved up a bit. And no magic phase, but I'm going to roll to see what the warp tables do. 3, which is pretty bad. I'll have to go see what that is. But also these flesh hounds over here charge in against the great cannon. That was Demon's movement phase. And for my warp table, I have to randomly determine 1 character to take instability test here. So I'll get back to you about that. In the shooting phase, this skull cannon here tried to take a shot at the steam tank. Hit, did not wound. Over here I did a grape shot and did 3 wounds to the pistoliers. And for my random warp storm instability test that I had to roll up, this herald on a juggernaut here ended up taking a test. And he failed it by 1, so he took a wound. And now we have a really fast combat phase to do, with just those flesh hounds against the cannon, and the juggernaut with 2 wounds left against all those Empire soldiers. See you at the end of turn 3 combat. In the combat phase, this guy died, but barely, and they all took a reform. All I did was kill 1 of these guys that turn. Then over here, the flesh hound mopped up that cannon. And they just reformed. Probably maybe take out that last war machine on my next turn, who knows? And we'll get back to you into Empire turn 3.
So, in the Empire's movement phase, this captain charged these guys in the rear. Misfired here, but it was just the one where you can't expend points in the steam gun. So I have 3 steam points into combat here. And these crossbowmen marched forward. And this unit moved around to get shots here. And that's it. We'll get back to you after magic phase. Okay, for the magic phase, Thaw's protection was actually dispelled when I went to cast it. And then I got off Light of Battle and the Hammer of Sigmar Prayer here for reroll to wound rolls on these 2 units. And now we'll do shooting phase. Over here, these pistoliers, man, I should just get that last wound through on that chariot cannon. And that was it, because the only other shot I had was the Hellstorm rocket battery at this guy, and it failed to do any wounds. So on to close combat. Alright, into the close combat phase. Steam tanks, impact hits, and grinds did some damage. And over here, this knight bounced off this unit. And they got a reform out of it. And he took a wound. And we're on to Demon's turn 4.
So in the demon movement phase, Bloodthirster charged this detachment, and the Herald of Khorne and the unit of blood crushers charged this steam tank. Hopefully finish it off. This guy just moved up. Hopefully get a cannonball shot in one of these units over here. And I'll roll the Winds of Magic now, see what happens. Oh, 11. That's probably good. So yeah, I gotta randomly select one enemy wizard on the battlefield and they're going to have to take a leadership test or become a herald. So that's unfortunate for that light mage, but I'll let you know how that goes at the demon's turn for shooting phase. So the mage over here ended up passing his leadership test from the warp storm table, and in the shooting phase, this cannon got a pretty good hit on these crossbowmen and got 6 kills. So off to a demon combat phase where we have this steam tank fighting a whole bunch of Khorne demons and all these Empire swordsmen.
Yeah, free company.
Free company against the Bloodthirster. And oh yeah, this Fleshhound one there against the War Machine. So we'll get back to you at the end of combat phase. So in the combat phase, these Fleshhounds managed to kill that War Machine, and then they overran a couple inches. Down over here, between both these units, they've managed to finish off a couple wounds on the steam tank, and they both reformed. And then the Bloodthirster, who charged into this unit, charged them. They failed their break test, ran away. The Bloodthirster swiped them, and then he overran into this bigger unit here. So these guys are actually gone, and that's the battlefield at the end of Demon's turn 4. So Empire turn 4.
Okay, in Empire's movement phase, I tried to charge over here. I needed an 8 and I failed, so this unit of the halberdiers just kind of flailed forward a little bit. I reformed these crossbowmen right here, as you can see, and moved up the fast cav here. They're just within range to get a couple shots at this guy, and then my Pegasus right there rallied, sitting on 2 wounds. Alright, on to magic. Alright, magic phase. The only spell I got off was Faw's Protection right here. So -1 to hit on this unit. And we will move on to shooting phase. So in the shooting phase, I failed to do any wounds over here. So we went right into combat. There was a challenge between the champion and the greater demon. He killed him with 3 overkill. So he won combat by 1 because of the static. And I failed my leadership test, and I failed my reroll. So even with stubborn. So here we go.
So yeah, I'm gonna try and catch him here. Hopefully get a good overrun.
I go 6 inches.
And I go
9
inches.
Got me,
So,
and into the other
overrun.
unit.
Yikes.
Steadily. So we'll be back with Demon's movement phase.
Turn 5.
Turn 5.
In my movement phase, the Blood Crushers failed another pretty average charge to stumble forward 2 inches. The Bloodletters made a pretty decent sized charge though against these crossbowmen and didn't take any wounds on the Overwatch. The Fleshhounds just turned around and the Skull Cannon just came over to grape shot these guys. So that's the end of the movement phase. I'm just going to roll the Winds of Chaos dice for an 8. And that's the Dark Prince Thirst. Ouch. So I got to roll for each unengaged Khorne demon unit. This unit here on a 6 will take damage. Nope. This unit here, no. So it's actually all good. Oh, and the Fleshhounds, no. So all good there, and we'll get back to you after probably a combined shooting and combat phase. So in the shooting phase, the Skull Cannon grape shotted these 2 dudes, and they are dead. Over here, the Bloodletters that charged the crossbowmen killed a whole bunch of them. They lost 1 guy in return. 3 are running away, and they tested to restrain to help out over here next turn. But it wasn't really needed because the Bloodthirster she challenged, his general accepted. The Bloodthirster killed the general, and that brought him down to his fortitude breaking point there. So with the battlefield looking like this, there's 1 Empire captain left over here. Then a fair amount of Khorne demons surrounding the last little bit of halberdiers and BSB. So we'll get back with the little post game. Hope you enjoyed that battle report. Pretty solid one for the demons.
Yeah, turn south there pretty quick at the end. That Bloodthirster did fantastic.
Yeah, a little risky with all those cannons out there, but managed to come out of this battle without a single wound. Yeah, it's fun.
So we'll get back to you next time with another battle report.
See you later.